Garry's mod has to be one of the most influential mod/game ever made. The sandbox nature of Gmod was an instant hit with players, and along with the custom add-ons you could download for it, it made things even better. Before the workshop, there used to be sites like garrysmod.org that had hundreds and thousands of maps, weapons, NPCs, models, and so much more. Then, when the workshop got introduced, things were never the same again. This made the game feel like it was made by the players, for the players. In this day and age, Gmod is a household name that all PC gamers experience in their lifetimes. But what if Garry's mod was on the GoldSrc engine? This leads us to GoMod, which is short for either GoldSrc mod or Gold mod, I think. This was a project started by HL Modder and Ranger366 back in 2009. It was being developed up till 2011, but then everything became quiet, no more updates, and the project was sort of quietly abandoned. New developers did come in and go, and they did try to update it, but in the end, it just didn't get the momentum it should have gotten. I'll load into the construct map, and obviously it's very much in the nature of its Gmod counterpart. A major difference is the skybox is 2D, cause GoldSrc doesn't natively support 3D skyboxes. We have the pool, the ramp along the wall, the two different interior areas and all of that presented in classic GoldSrc fashion. One of the biggest weakness I think this mod has is its UI, the user interface. Where in Gmod you just press Q, get the thing you need and close it. Here it feels like it's way too clunky and time-taking. Functionally, it works as how it's advertised. You can spawn in NPCs, get weapons, but not the tool gun for some reason. Like, this original version of GoMod is very finicky to work with. Either things were straight up broken, or I just couldn't figure it out. By default, you get the Half-Life and Opposing Force NPCs and weapons along with the Counter-Strike Condition Zero weapons as well. In the end, with its rough overall functionality, it still ends up being a little bit fun when you do these matchups with different factions and races. I also liked these little additions like this mounted gun and the mortar strike. Of course, I had to see what happens to a bunch of nerds when they get danger close, so... I also tried to spawn in the nail length, but that didn't work unfortunately. Then as a finale, I set up this huge battle between a bunch of aliens and Black Mesa staff, and Adrian Shepard was there as well. I went back a distance and let it all work itself out. Adrian died, by the way. The Black Mesa staff won, so I gave them their reward. Next, I moved on to this map called GM Somewhere. Now there's one critical thing that Gmod had back in the day, still has, but GoMod never did, and that's custom add-ons. First, I don't think there's an easy way to add in NPCs or weapons, so you'll mostly find custom GoMod maps on the internet to play around in. Then it is largely dependent on how fun the map is to run around in because there's no vehicles to spawn either. But overall, I think this is a nice little concept that can be fun if you're not looking for an exact Gmod replica in the GoldSrc engine. Obviously, the source engine is much more advanced than the GoldSrc engine. That's not confusing at all. I'm just gonna call it the Half-Life 1 engine now. So a lot of those things in Gmod that it uses cannot be done here, like custom scripts, posing, and all those extra tools and bits and bobs. But I personally liked going around these low poly maps and duking it out with a bunch of Half-Life 1 NPCs. But then comes GoMod Reborn. This project was started in 2022 by Lambda Luke 87. It's basically a new version of GoMod, but it's made from scratch, so the original source code isn't used in this. This version on screen was released earlier this year and it's called GoMod Reborn Lite. This felt much more refined and polished than the original. It had a slightly better UI, it gave you the fizz gun and the tool gun, plus there's slight more to do in this one with the help of these tools. But again, since this doesn't have the massive following that Gmod garnered over the years, its custom content is very much limited. You'll find a handful of maps or reskins of weapons or NPCs, and that's pretty much it. This time around, it doesn't have the Counter-Strike weapons, but features all the weapons and NPCs from Half-Life and Opposing Force, so that's cool. It would be cool if a system is implemented where players can easily port over weapons and NPCs from other GoldSrc games or mods. That would be sweet. Oh, and spawning NPCs was pretty easy this time around thanks to the duplicator tool. I even made one of them invisible with the render tool. And I think tools like the TNT is a big missing feature here. Obviously a lot of the other tools wouldn't work since the Half-Life 1 engine physics isn't as advanced as the Source engine physics system. I also looked at this custom map that was called something like Half-Life 2 Beta, and it had the console in it, and that was pretty much it. I think if given more updates and polish, this can turn out to be a great sandbox mod for Half-Life 1. Even in its current state, it still pretty much is a fun time. And that's pretty much it for this one. Thanks for watching, and a big thanks to these benefactors for supporting the channel. Pujo, Dream Vikings, Marinoa 213, Alexi, Unknowns98, Unusual, Taylor, The One Epic Player, Maddie160p, Joseph Stalin, Raccoon Eggs, 404 Not Found, Potato King, Corby, Needup, DeadX, Evox, Flaming Oddball, Paris 1911, The Geeler, ATSF GP30, A Normal Street Lamp, Mr. Spaban, Geode, Nobody Important, TS Stromer, Scary Stalker, It's Juro, Scooms, Gorgon B-Man, Imperial Embers, T-Boy301, Jack5282, Lucky You, Quiltman, 501st Clone Boy, TTG, Robocop Noel, Tedosaur, Lambdre, Roadkill, Walter, Fisher Grice, Hawk Assault, Jelen, TRR Droid, and Bipolit. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.